righty. Okay, we are officially recording, and here we are. I am so delighted to sit down and have a conversation with the Sherpa herself, Krista Cotton. Hey, girl. And so we're going to be talking about how to survive and thrive in holiday 2020. As we all know, 2020 has had tons of twists and turns and lots of curveballs thrown at us. And the holidays, there's already heightened anxiety about seeing family and spending money and food. So Chris and I just wanted to offer some tips of how to be able to keep yourself grounded as we're entering into this very particular surreal holiday season.
Yes, yes, yes.
So do you want you want to expound on that, Crystal? Anything else you want to say as an intro?
No, I think that's really good. That covers everything. And just what we hope to get out of it is just to empower people to really be prepared and kind of be able to embrace and enjoy the holiday season versus kind of be tossed back and forth by it, to be able to really experience it the way it's meant to be experienced, which is a time of love and encouragement
Mm-hmm.
and family and friends, and just be empowered for that. That's it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so of course the route that we're taking here is the holistic route. And with holistic, we have our four pillars, which is the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And so we wanted to really focus more on the physical aspects as far as like being mindful of like emotionally eating and what types of foods that you're consuming, and also the more mental and emotional part of how to go into the holiday. So, Crystal, we figured you're the expert when it comes to the immune system and gut health. So, yeah. So, what is your offering of what to suggest?
Okay, so the first thing is that we have to remember is that stress, in and of itself, compromises or suppresses the immune function, the immune system. So since we are already have been challenged with a lot of stress all year long, then
Mm-hmm.
we definitely do not want to add to that. We want to do what we can to build up our immune system and our immune response so we can stay safe
Mm-hmm.
and not be at risk for the viruses and things that we're dealing with today. So the first thing is to be able to kind of frame how you respond to stress. And I know, Missy, you're going to cover that in depth. So that's the first thing, to have that foundation that says, you know what, I'm going to be good. But then we have to equip our bodies to be able to um, to be as strong as they can be for us. And the way we do that is with proper nutrition
Mm-hmm.
and hydration and things like that, because our gut is really going to be the place where a lot of the immune system is housed. In fact, there's some dispute as to whether the percentage of 70% is accurate, but for sure, the majority of your immune system is in your gut.
Yes, it
And,
is.
and because that's the place where all your intake meets your immune system. That's the
Mm-hmm.
place where all your little natural killer cells need to be, because they don't know, what's coming in from the things that you eat and the things that you drink and the things that you take in other ways. So I would definitely recommend at this point to make sure that you're eating as many fruits and vegetables as you can, and drinking tons of water to be well hydrated. And those things will help you with the gut bacteria. So then, I don't know, did you want me to go into gut bacteria?
Well, yeah, because I think it might be important to talk about, like the microbiome and to make sure that there's because with the gut, it's like, I like to think of the gut as like a commune, like I think of like a little commune, all these like hippies and different people living together. And, when you want them to live in harmony with each other. And sometimes you want to make sure that you have like making sure that everybody's doing their part. Does that analogy work as far as like
Yeah,
the gut
absolutely.
biome? So like probiotics and
Yes.
making sure you're getting all those things. So
Yeah.
yes, go for
So
it.
let's talk about probiotics and prebiotics,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of conversation that goes along with that. So for a long time, it was like we're only talking about probiotics, and probiotics are the bacteria that help your they're actually got the most recognized and most tested bacteria for most people. So it's very common for most people. It's like the greatest common denominator for gut health. And so those, you'll take your probiotic, but everyone's gut, everyone's microbiome is different. And so it's based on, what you eat, for your particular lifestyle. That's how your gut bacteria is distributed. So in addition to probiotics, you want to have prebiotics. What prebiotics do is they help your body to produce the the bacteria that's needed, or the gut bacteria that's needed for you,
Mhm.
customized for what you're eating and what you're digesting. So we always want to have something that is a probiotic along coupled with a prebiotic. So at the end of the day, your microbiome is set and functioning in its best way for you.
Now, what are some examples of prebiotics?
I don't know the names, like they're very long names of
So,
prebiotics.
so I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that question. So, with probiotics, we can get them through like acidophilus, kimchi, and kombucha, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So then, with prebiotics, is it something that would have to be taken through a supplement?
I've only had prebiotics through a supplement.
Okay.
There are prebiotic foods, but I don't know those off the top of my head, the prebiotic foods that we have.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Okay.
There has to be, because everything comes from nature, and there's got to be a version of that that's available to help support your gut biome. But that I do not know, but I can get back to you.
Okay, okay, okay. No, that's
um,
fine. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's fine. Okay. All right, but we definitely know again, like as far as like the probiotics that, they're as far as like consuming them, that we can get them from fermented foods. And maybe that's something to consider, everyone, like when you're, planning your Thanksgiving dinner, maybe include like a side of some kimchi, or like having some kombucha as an option.
Some sauerkraut,
Mhm.
or even like the pickled beet, anything like that to add. Those are actually pretty delicious.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so yeah, that's a good idea to definitely add some of those foods into your menu. Um, I don't know if and hopefully people will eat them, because people tend to just kind of be like, ew.
Oh, what's that?
Ew, honestly, what is that? I'm not, no, thank you, I'm good.
I think
That's
that
why
went back.
sometimes it's easier to supplement, because it's just like, just take this powder and you're fine. But definitely, if you can do that, that would be the best. The best is always food.
Yes, yes, yes. And then also what I feel called to bring up right now is inflammation, right? Because that's really what we're talking about here when it comes to immune system, when it comes to the gut flora being compromised is inflammation. And another thing that causes inflammation is mucus, right? An excessive amount of mucus. So, again, we just want to offer some suggestions of just how to be extra mindful to keep your immune system balanced. And since we're already inflamed due to all the stress that we encountered this year, it may be a good idea to be mindful of the amount of dairy that you're intaking, because that's just going to feed the inflammation even more. So perhaps we'll be looking to some vegan options. Or a little bit more vegan options with dinner than you normally would in the past. I know, Krista, what are your thoughts about that?
I would say when we start talking about inflammation, definitely sugar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about inflammation and mucus, it's sugar. You got to get as much of that out of your system as possible. I mean, definitely dairy, but during the holiday seasons, it's all about the
It can be
cookies,
tricky. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
cake, and
Yeah.
it's like I wait all year just so I can have some German chocolate cake,
That's true. Okay. Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. And just sugar is just like the worst thing ever. Um, when it comes to inflammation. It used to be for a while. When I first started on my fitness journey, um, I would have, like, literally every holiday we would have a cake. Like when my grandmother was alive, she would make a German sweet chocolate cake. I would make an Italian cream cake, and so we would have sugar on the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And inevitably, every single day, the next day, I could barely walk down the stairs
Mm.
because my knees hurt me so bad due to the inflammation. And the other, like, I had some pre-existing injuries, and they would always be worse the day after because of the sugar. But then over time, if you're mindful of these things going into the holidays, so you've changed the way you eat, and so you're healthier all year long, then having one or two meals over the holiday where you do sugar is not that bad. So now when I have sugar, I don't have that same response as I had before when I wasn't as healthy. So the key thing is definitely for people to focus on the healthier choices. And if you're here, I mean, you just are where you are right now, right?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
haven't made the healthiest choices, know that, just don't, I would say, don't stress about the fact that you haven't been doing it, but just be mindful and
Yeah.
try not have as much, understanding that every, the response of the body to having additional sugar is pretty much immediate, and so you're going to experience some inflammation in your body. You probably won't even notice it though, because you're just used to it. I didn't realize how inflamed I was until I started taking better care of my health,
Mm-hmm.
and then I realized, oh my gosh, that what I thought was fat wasn't fat. It was
It
inflammation
was
because
information.
I was
Yeah.
eating all the wrong things for my body.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't. I don't want people to stress out over the holidays because they're like, oh my gosh, no, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. I mean, but just be mindful and
Mindful.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
set an intention
Yeah.
that you're going to change the way you live so that you can consume more without having such a detrimental impact to your overall health.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for clearing it up. Because again, yeah, we don't want to stress folks out about, being, but again, it's just that the mindfulness is just so important. Because again, we're already coming into these situations with a little bit more stress than normal. So these mindfulness techniques are really, really important. Um, so before we move on to more of the mindful, like the actual like physical, mental, emotional aspect, Crystal, was there anything else that you had to say as far as the physical, or anything else about the gut?
I would say, one of the things that could really help is just to consider the timing also that you're eating over the holidays. So I've had several trainers over the years, and one of the things that they always, when we talk about eating and managing how you're eating over the holidays, is just when you're going to be eating, but if you just set an intention to say, okay, I'm going to eat for an hour versus all day. Like before, I used to eat all day. It's like whatever the food is there, just eat all day. But don't do that. Just set an intention to say, you know what? I'm gonna eat for an hour. And just eat as much as you want in that hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then spend the rest of your time just interacting with people, loving up on people, having
Yeah.
conversations. But just try to eat what you want, but set an intention for that set time frame and then leave it and just don't eat anymore. That way you don't feel so much like you're restricted or you're having to do something so you can be healthy. You're kind of like, no, I had everything I wanted. I'm stuck. Now I'm just gonna, love up on other people. And that'll help it not feel so so restrictive, because you want to be free on the holiday.
Yeah.
So that
No.
has worked for me. That helps me to just frame, time block a period of time that you're gonna eat,
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it, and then just move on.
Yeah, and it also prevents you from being repulsive and reactive,
Yeah.
right? Like for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that. It gives you some sense of control.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and then I want to add on to that too is that will also give you an opportunity. Well, when you say like like taking time out to love up on family and interacting, perhaps having a group, going for a group walk. So there's something physical to
Yes.
do
Yes.
after you do
Yes.
your meal. You
Yes.
know. Um,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or maybe have a little dance party with the family, and, and,
Yes.
and I feel
Do
like
some TikToks. Make some TikToks.
what's that? Oh yeah, make some
TikToks.
TikToks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of TikTok thing. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
Soul Train line.
Exactly. 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 Yeah. We got lots of tools and things to play with
Yes, we
nowadays.
do. Yeah. And so this leads me into unless Crystal, there was anything else you wanted to say about the
No.
physical.
No. Yeah.
No? Okay. So this goes into more, of the mental, emotional aspect of how to survive and thrive in holiday 2020. So another thing to keep in mind is when it comes to information or inflammation or just an imbalance within the body, we also want to talk about the pH, right? So when the body is more acidic, that also makes you more prone to inflammation and to compromise your immune system. So your thoughts have an effect, almost a more quicker direct effect on your pH than food.
Mm.
So if you're going into the situation already, Like for an example, if there's, whether this is like through Zoom interactions you're doing with family or, in the physical, sometimes we might have a family member that might be triggering or a friend that might be triggering. So, and again, if you're already coming in with this underlying kind of angst because of this year, then you're going to be quicker to be reactive even more so. So this is the perfect opportunity to come into this space, whether it's virtual or physical, grounded as much as you
Yes.
possibly can. Like even if that means that you do a quick meditation, you say a quick little prayer, just come in with the intention of coming from a place of love because life is short. As this year has taught us, things can shift at a blink of an eye. You can lose a family member, a friend in the blink of an eye. So this is, if there's any other holiday, I feel like this is the holiday to like really allow us to just appreciate the people in our lives for their good and their ugly.
Right.
So
Right.
so yes, that's just something really important I wanted to offer. And then and I've talked about this many times before, which is heart coherence. And I just want to bring that up again because this is such a powerful tool. I want to share this really quickly. I was listening to a lecture through the Heart Math Institute, and they were talking about how to diffuse triggers when it comes. Because let's get real, you guys. Like we do have family members and friends that just kind of rub us the wrong way. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
when it
Right.
comes to
Right.
the holidays, we're kind of like almost forced to interact with them. And so one way that you can be mindful of these triggers with people is to come from a place of neutrality. Meaning like if there's someone that just rubs you the wrong way, instead of just like looking at all their faults because that's what's gonna like encourage you to be reactive, just see them as a human being first. You don't have to say, oh, they're great. You don't even have to send them love and light, but just come from a place of neutrality. And what that does is balance out that heavy negative charge, and then you're able to move in a non-reactionary place from there. Okay. All right, Chris, you got anything to say about that or
No,
anything that comes
that,
up when you
that's
hear
really,
that?
yeah, no, that's really helpful because a lot of times you just need a moment to create like this little gap between the experience of the trigger and the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, and coming from just having that set of being in a neutral place, it's almost like it sets up that space that you need so that when the trigger comes, you've already got a little gap that you can
Yeah.
work on
Yeah.
and respond. Because
Mm-hmm.
part of it is just awareness, just to be like, oh, okay, I'm not going there. I have an intention to be neutral in this case, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really empowering. And like the analogy that the lady used was, Chris, I'm sure you remember this, the stick shift.
Mm.
You remember the stick shift? So like if you have to go forward or back or reverse, you have to go through neutral first.
Mm.
So
Oh, okay. No,
you
I hadn't
see
heard
that
that.
analogy? Yeah. So it's like neutral really just gives you that empowerment to like, make that decision, of course you don't want to be reactive, but it just kind of clears the slate. So with heart coherence, again, what this is really quick technique that you could use like before jumping on that Zoom call with family, before entering to that house and you're already feeling a little angst. What you do is just simply put your hand on your heart and take about maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes is all it takes just to do some deep breathing, just to get yourself calm. And then you think of one thing that brings you joy. One thing. It could be your wedding day. It could be the birth of your child. It could be when you moved into your home, when you got that car. Because the brain doesn't know the difference between what's reality and what's fantasy. And by simply bringing in that memory, you're releasing endorphins into the body. You're releasing dopamine into the body. So you're already feeling good. and
Right.
then and then it just centers everything out, and then like your nervous system calms down. So when you enter into that house, you're neutral and you're coming from a place of love, and then you're already set yourself up to not be reactionary.
Now, does your energy then flow to the others around? So, say for example, you've done that. Now you have the more positive energy, and you hug someone. Is that is
Absolutely.
that isn't that kind of
Absolutely.
like connecting you and giving them some of that
Yes.
energy as well?
Yes, yes, yes. Because also, that's a really great point. So, what part of what makes the heart so powerful? because as far as because we are energy, right? You know, like we're beyond the bones and the skin and the blood. Out of all the out of all the different parts in the human body, the heart has the strongest electromagnetic energy. So if you already have that charge, yes, you're going to affect. That's why, like, when people walk in the room and they have like bad juju, you can feel it right away, right? So why not come into the house or to the Zoom call with good juju, where you can, because it is contagious. You know, when you're happy and you're flowing, people feel that. You know, so you can choose to be that beacon of light for your family and friends when you walk into that room. And yeah.
Just design your experience and say, you know what, I have an intention, and maybe even visualize your light expanding. Like maybe you say, okay, I'm creating this ball of light around me that's like arm's length. So whoever I hug, they're gonna get my love whether they want it or not.
Yes.
They'll be feeling good and they won't even know why. They're just like, oh, about that. I don't know. When I'm in her presence, I just share so much peace and love. What is it? And it'll be if you intentionally send that love around. They know they can use it for sure.
And then it'll be interesting experiment, like if you do that, then how there's that one aunt that's like, oh, you're not married yet, and oh, you don't have kids. It'd be interesting to see if that one aunt is just like chill this time around by doing that exercise.
They'll be so used to, they'll be so shocked that you're nice to them that they won't know what to think about that. They won't have anything to say. Negative people, if they can't say anything negative, you don't give them any trigger, then they have to kind of relax and bow down and be like,
yeah.
Did that. Yeah. My stuff is not working on this person. Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to keep in mind too that like everybody's kind of on their little journey, and no one's really there's no such I mean in my opinion, there's no such thing really as bad people. There's just like people at different levels of their journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it helps to just keep in mind that that aunt that's a pain, she just hasn't found her enlightened self.
Yeah, right.
On her way.
Yeah.
So maybe your additional kindness or your additional love lets her, gives her just a little piece of light that she can use as a day and to get her there a little bit faster. Everyone's intention, I think, as human beings, is to get to a point of enlightenment.
Yes.
And they just don't know yet. So you have that helps me to be a little bit more compassionate because I'm like,
yes,
okay, they don't know. And the other thing that helps me is thinking of it like you think of it like a little kid. Like little kids do all kind of stuff, and you're like, what's wrong with them? But you love them anyway.
Yes.
Kids. We gotta have that same kind of love and compassion for everybody because we're all on our different little phases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody's nerves too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? It's right. Somebody's like, oh yeah, that crystal. But at least it's a cycle and you spread the love and
like, oh God, here comes Misty talking about her hippie stuff again.
Right.
There she goes.
Sunshine. What you can do. You can be negative, you can be positive.
It's so true.
Somebody's like, what you so happy about? There's always something. Do you and send attention that you're gonna be good and you're gonna be happy, and you're gonna be peaceful, you're gonna enjoy your time before you even get there, because a lot of it too is just what your intention is. If you go in expecting that it's gonna be drama, then for sure it's gonna be
it's gonna happen. Laws of attraction.
It's not. It's gonna be love and it's gonna be fun and you're gonna be glad to see people. Then you'll generate that for yourself as well.
So Krista, with that said, as we're wrapping up, I want you to share, because we were talking about like a few like things that you can do, because it's one thing to like come in with the mindset, but then there's actual like actions that you can take. And so I wanted you to share what you shared with me when we spoke about silly things that you can do to shift the energy.
Okay. So
I love this.
One of the things. Okay, so this is one that I really want to try. I'm going to try. I read about this. You're talking about the one from the 4-hour work week. That example.
That example, but the one I was thinking specifically is what you did with your boys when they were doing their homework.
Right. So yes. So early in the week, I was really having a bad week, and what I did was, and what you can do to encourage people is, I actually just out of the clear blue sky just started clapping. I was just started giving them a round of applause. I was like, hey, and they were like, what's wrong with you? Oh, imagine this, just vision this,
I
vision this.
love it.
You're going over your auntie's house, right? And they're all kind of, you usually expect a problem. But what if you just walked in the room and you were just like, hey guys, how you doing? Oh my God, oh, you look amazing. And you just start clapping. The immediate response, when I did this with my boys, the immediate response was first they were just like, what's wrong with you?
Let's talk about mama. Yeah.
Why are you acting like that? And then I couldn't help but smile because I was like, hey, high five. And then they high five me and the smile would come on their face because who gets a round of applause anyway? So it's like just doing little different things where you can encourage people. And then just find one thing that's good about the person. Like maybe it's the sweater they're wearing, or maybe, you really like their nail designs, or,
Mm-hmm.
just find one positive thing for every single person that you contact. Like just find one thing because honestly, most people don't hear anything positive about themselves. Most people, we're going through life. There's so much stuff going on, and it's just like that. Sometimes that small thing, or just to be intentional about smiling at
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
For many, many years, a couple of decades ago, I used to have people always just be like, "Why don't you smile? Why aren't you smiling?" And I'd be like, "What's wrong with her? Why is she asking me to smile?" But then I realized that there's an energy in smiling,
Mm-hmm.
that when you smile at people, then they want to smile back, even if they don't. They want to. They
Yeah, they
want to
want to.
smile back.
Yeah.
And so some people can go a whole day or weeks or months without anyone even smiling at them. So when you go into an
Mm.
environment where it's new people that you haven't met, just to smile and say hello in a genuine, warm way can help go a long way to help to reduce defenses if there are any, and then just encourage people to know that there's love available for them. Because a lot of people just want to know that they're worthy, or feel, with so much stuff going on, people losing their jobs, and maybe relationships that are changing because of different things that have been going on. There's a lot of, I think, a feeling of loss of self-worth. People don't have um, the same crutches that they had before. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you were going to work all the time and that was your job and you were absolute ace at your job, and you don't have that anymore, and that's what you were using to establish your value and your self-esteem, then now when you don't have that support anymore. So I think it's important for us to help as far as we can to encourage people to see their value. And so sometimes just smiling at them,
Yeah.
saying, hey, I'm so proud of you, how you did your lawn or something. I mean, just finding a positive thing. You never know. That might be a thread that somebody is, hanging on to, that maybe was thinking about committing suicide, or, not to
Mm-hmm.
go dark, but it's that time of the year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just your kindness, you never know. And not just with family, even if you're out, around somewhere, just having that where, that mindset to want to encourage another person, because you just never know.
You never know. You never know.
Mhm.
Yeah, one of the things I've been getting into the habit is when I go for my walk around the neighborhood, I just wave. I don't care, if they're across the street, they're walking towards me. And some
Yeah,
people are like,
I
but
should
most
wait.
people are like, oh my God, hi, because it's
Yeah.
so easy just to kind of get caught up in our own little world. And
Especially with these masks on.
especially with the mask, especially with the mask.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's great, Crystal. Yeah. It could just be, it doesn't have to be a production. It doesn't have to be like you have to put
No.
a song and dance together for a person. Just simply smile. And I love like also the just a compliment, like, ooh, like
Hmm.
your hair looks good today, or like those are pretty earrings, or
Hmm.
so
Yeah, or even with their children. You know what? You've done so good with your boys.
hmm
I really just love the example that you're giving with them. How they're doing, how great they're doing in school, or just something. Because a lot of times I know for me as a parent, sometimes I always question like, oh my gosh, am I screwing the kids up or what? Like, are they good? What's going on? But sometimes just that little assurance that says, hey, you're doing a great job. You really are. Will help people to feel a value and feel worth as they go into this time of year. So,
hmm And then what was it that you wanted to share from the 4 hour work week?
it was just he gave an example of he talked about how we should go beyond just going outside the box, but actually acting outside the box. So not just thinking outside the box, but acting outside the box. And he gave an example of an
Oh
exercise where you would just go out in the public, okay, just go out in public, a crowded area, and just lay down on the ground for 10 seconds. And then get up. And
Have you
people
tried
are
that
gonna
yet,
look at you
Crystal?
like, what's wrong with you? And then if they dare ask you why, you can just say, oh, I just felt like laying down for a second. And it does a couple things. One, I like the idea because one, it's like a pattern interrupt. Like everyone's
Yeah, yeah,
in the matrix and just doing what they do, and then it's like you do something crazy like lay on the ground, which is and that'll wake them up like, hey, what are you doing? That's crazy. What's going on? And they'll probably laugh, or they might call you an idiot, but at least you broke you broke the matrix, you broke
yeah,
for a
yeah.
minute.
You create a
So
glitch, a
yeah,
good glitch.
yeah. And then when you get really good at it, you can do it with your friends. You can just be out in the mall and just lay down in the middle of the ground. He actually used the example. He said he used to do it when he and his friends would go out to clear the floor for breakdancing. So he said get up and people were like, what's wrong with you? He's like, oh, I just felt like laying down. So I mean, it's something to break up the monotony because everything feels so rote now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Normally you would at least maybe even smile, but now you can't even see people smile right away when you're walking by them because this mask is on. So anything you can do to just kind of lighten up the energy that'll be felt in many different locations.
That's why I love the whole, applauding, just like, out of nowhere, like, like, and so let's give like maybe a couple examples within the context of like a Thanksgiving, because that's coming up. That would be the first thing, whether it's a Zoom call or you're, having dinner with friends and family. Just, maybe at the dinner table, just suddenly just start applauding, like, oh my God, this food is so amazing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, like they share something they think is minor because a lot of times people just downplay their accomplishments, right? So when they're sharing something good with you, instead of just normally you would say, "Oh, that's great," instead of just saying, "Oh, that's great," you go, "Hey, you guys, check this out." So
I love
everybody
it.
will jump in if one
Yeah.
appreciates it. Everybody else
Everybody's
is
gonna
going
jump in. Yeah.
right because they
Yeah.
want you to be encouraged. So you just be the one, and then they'll be cheesing back and forth because no one's ever done that for them before. So that would be
Okay.
great.
That's a good one. And then another one, kind of giving away a secret, but one of the things that my husband and I are planning on doing is putting together a little skit. So that's something else to offer, and it could be something really, maybe like have three jokes, in your back pocket, and but do it in a way where you're like, hey everybody, okay, I got something for you, like a cute little skit, or just break out with a song. Maybe
Yeah.
like choose a song that everybody knows so that, hopefully you can get everybody to join in with you.
Right. Yes, definitely. Anything to just make life more fun because it's been heavy. It's been a heavy
So
year
happy. Yeah.
for a lot of people. It's a heavy year. And so I think that anything that you can do to encourage people and help them to feel better and to just be hopeful about life
Yeah.
is really, really helpful. And you just don't know how far it really will go. So anything that you're inclined to do to encourage people would be great. And I would also I would say that this would be a time not to, how do I say this? So when my family gets together, there's always a lot of religious talk, like
Mm.
these debates and these,
Hmm.
things that, where you're having these strong conversations. And I would encourage to steer clear of those conversations because they just make for heat. And it's almost like I always felt like in my family anyway, it's kind of like a smoke screen for real conversation.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never liked those conversations
Yeah.
anyway. So I would say just kind of steer clear of those conversations and try to have heart to heart conversations with people where you're really inquiring and really wanting to know, hey, so what's going on? Oh, how are things going? So you really give them, a place to be able to have a conversation versus feeling like they need to jump into that debate just to be able to participate in the event.
This reminds me of a Thanksgiving maybe like 5 years ago. Some friends of ours, it's like maybe six of us that got together, and we played this game after eating dinner. I wish I can remember the name of the game, but it was a game where like it asked you a question, but it was like really deep questions about who you are. Like, what do you feel like are your weaknesses? What's something about yourself you never shared with people? And maybe it can be where everyone can get a piece of paper and just write a question, like a question of like a really deep, philosophical question to get to know someone, but always keep it positive. That would be the number one
Yeah.
rule. And then put all the pieces of paper in a box and pass the box around.
Oh, okay. Inexpensive, like something you can do where you don't have to spend money on it at all, and you
Hmm.
just put some slips of paper. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
So the name of the game here, everyone, is that this is our opportunity to flip the script. This is our opportunity because it's like if we want as crazy and hectic as 2020 is and we're coming to a close, let's try to get something out of this so that the whole year wasn't just about suffering, but that we're able to get a blessing out of it. And a blessing that we can get out of this is being able to learn from those lessons and to bring in the vibration of love, the vibration of positivity into our family and friend situation. Um, since we know now of how precious life is, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And then one last thing I want to say, Crystal, and then you can close it out. I wanna share a quote that I found by Maya Angelou, and I love this quote. And it says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel."
Feel absolutely.
Yeah, so there's something to meditate on.
Mhm.
So that's my conclusion, Crystal. You wanna have anything to say in conclusion?
I think we need to leave it right there because at the end of the day, that is what's most important is how do people feel around you? How do you how is your energy affecting them? And because we kind of get what we give. And so if everybody just goes from a position of how can I make this person feel important? Like I've had some personal development, I can't remember. I think it was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a
Mm,
Gail Carnegie book. And it talks about like that we should make people feel important. Everybody wants to feel like they're important. Everyone wants to feel like, that their life matters, especially during this time. And so if we can do that and we can set ourselves aside a little bit and then focus on what would make that other person feel good, what would make them feel happy, what would excite them, then we're going to feel good because we're doing that. And they're going to feel good because they're the receiver of it. And then they may pay that
yeah,
forward.
right. Yeah, it
And that's how we make an
comes back.
impact. Like there's never, I used to think that you needed more than one person to make an impact. And now that I'm older, I realize that impact is one person at a time, one
Hmm.
person's decision,
Hmm.
one person's thought at a time to do better and to be better. And when that happens, people can see hope and then they can see a way for themselves to do better and be better. And so I think, right, what you're saying, that quote about how you make people feel is kind of like maybe the theme that we need to have going into the holidays.
Yes.
How can we help others to feel good and feel loved and feel cared for and feel valued and valuable despite every single thing that's going on around
Yes. Yeah. I know it's easier said than done, but
us?
it's
Yes,
absolutely possible.
yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Even if you just get one person, you
Just
might
one
get
person.
one person to have a meltdown, be like,
Yeah.
woo, that's all I can do. But that one person will be fired up. Now everybody else might be like, oh, but that one person, man, you really make an impact with them. Do what you can. Do what you can.
Do what you can. Do what you can. Yes, yes. I think this is a pretty incredible conversation, Crystal, and even I'm walking away inspired from it as well. Yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time out to dialogue about this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, Sherpa. Okay, everybody. Well, look, happy holidays. Happy holidays, and I hope that we were able to get some value and inspiration from this conversation. And it starts with us. It's kind of like the knowledge I'm thinking of right now, or the concept is patient zero, right? Like that. It was that one person that started the virus, but we can flip the script and be that one person that spreads the positivity. You
Yes,
know.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So anyway, with that said, love and light to everybody. And Crystal, thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, bye bye.
Yeah, Bye, everyone.